Hey, everybody, what's going on? It's your girl, No Mercy here. It's Tuesday night, so you already know what time it is. It's time for No Punches Pulled with me, No Mercy. Some of you probably already know who I am. Those of you that are new and are not sure, I am your host, Brooke Millbrook, formerly known in the fight business as Brooke No Mercy Dierdorff. I am a retired professional fighter. I held the WBC lightweight title until I retired, and I was inducted into the International Women's Boxing Hall of Fame last year, 2022. I have been through some good, some bad, and of course, a lot of BS in the sport of women's boxing. But this is my platform where we talk the talk and walk the walk. We're going to bring out the truth in women's boxing. We'll talk to pioneers in the sport, past boxers, current boxers, even future boxers. We get down and dirty here and talk the truth of what takes place in women's boxing and behind the scenes, unheard things that nobody's ever heard before, straight from the fighters. You don't want to miss a single show. So please definitely make sure that if you're new here, you like, subscribe, and you share because you don't want to miss a single show here every Tuesday night with me at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But y'all, this week we got a special one. This week we're joined by none other than the remarkable Layla McCarter. Layla is a professional female boxer of immense talent and unparalleled achievements. Her awe-inspiring career spans multiple weight divisions with numerous world titles under her belt, from reigning as the WIBF and GBU welterweight champion since 2018 to previously holding the IFBA featherweight title in 2000, the WIBF super lightweight title in 2003, GBU junior welterweight title in 2003, the WBA lightweight title twice between 2007 and 2009, and the WBA super welterweight title in 2012. Layla's legacy is undeniably legendary, y'all. Her incredible journey, hailed as the 10th best female boxer of all time by Ring Magazine in January of 2016. She's been honored by the prestigious Nevada and California Boxing Hall of Fame and was the second female ever to sign with Mayweather Promotions in February of 2017. At the age of 44, Layla still continues to amaze, boasting an impressive record of 45, 13, and 5, having faced off against the absolute best there is in the business, y'all. Please help me welcome Layla McCarter to the show. What's
Thank you
up,
for
champ?
having
How
me.
are you? It's been a while since I saw you at the inductions.
I'm great, Brooke. Thank you for having me, and thank you for that beautiful introduction. I appreciate that.
Yes, thank you so much. It's an honor to have you. It's a pleasure. Thanks for taking the time
Of course.
to come on the show today and share your story with the world.
Of course. Yeah. My pleasure.
Uh, yeah, so first, I kind of always kind of like to take it back to the beginning. If you could just tell us a little bit about like your childhood and when and what led you to decide to do boxing.
Well, as a kid, I got involved in martial arts by following my brother into karate, Ed Parker's American Kempo karate first. But as he went back to football and other things, I stayed in that vein because it gave me a lot of structure and discipline, things I needed. I found a lot of good in the martial arts, and everywhere we moved, we moved a lot. So I don't think I lived anywhere longer than 5 years until I moved here. So um,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, it's definitely tough when you're trying to move around, but there's always mixed martial arts or some type of gym or facility that you can
and
always
then
go to.
and then from there was a series of choices from full contact karate. I was involved in point tournaments, and then you get into full contact karate aspect that was new, and then led right into kickboxing. When I went to the kickboxing gym the first time and had my first smoker there, I realized that I didn't really know how to fight yet. So I was like, I need to learn that.
Well, yeah, I know. I, as a kid, did like taekwondo and karate, but the style is completely
It's a
different
rude
things. The
awakening.
stance, like everything is totally different from the stance to everything.
Totally.
Um, People always laugh and they're like, well, who would win between like a mixed martial artist or like a boxer or even like a karate?
Hmm.
But their styles are just too
Apples
different
and
to
oranges,
even,
yeah.
yeah, totally different. What's up, Boxing Channel? How are you? Thanks for tuning in. We're with the champ. I know you shared it. Thank you so much. So tell us about the first time you stepped into the boxing gym and your experience being a female in a male dominant sport. Did you have any issues or trouble with trainers wanting to work with you or any of the guys at the gym?
Well, as a female boxer and being in a man's world, you're pretty much ignored, almost
Yep.
encouraged to quit. And so for me, though, coming from the martial arts and from kickboxing, I really thought I was tough. I was badass. So I didn't let it deter me. But
Yeah.
it's hard when you have no support, and those few gleams of support, those little bits help so much. Like the slightest bit of encouragement is like you're starving and somebody gives you a cracker. It's like, okay,
Yes.
yeah.
Totally. Yeah, it only takes one or two people, even just a comment,
But
and you're like,
yeah.
oh, they noticed.
But I remember gyms that didn't allow females at all, and especially in California, I won't mention the specific gym, but they just don't allow females at all. And I'm like, well, I'm looking at these guys hitting the bag, and they can't do what I can do. So,
Right.
I got really insulted, and I told them, you know what? Put me in one round with every guy that you have here, and if they can knock me out, I'll leave. If not, you need to let me train. And then I just kind of got
Yeah.
mad and left anyway, but never happened.
Yeah.
Um,
Just totally incompetent.
yes,
Incompetent people. A waste of time. Wasn't even worth your time or effort at that point.
exactly.
So I know you, similar to me, had a very short amateur career. I think I only had like 15 fights. You had 11.
12, yeah, actually 12.
10 and 1
Mhm.
as an amateur. Did you have any like really good memories from the amateurs or anything that like stuck out that you enjoyed in the amateurs? I know mine was so short, there really wasn't.
I had a lot of great times in the amateurs, because being the only female, usually it's a different experience. You're sharing a room with a bunch of guys,
Yep.
and you're on the road, and it's a strange thing, but I had fun with my teammates in Spokane. We were a core tight group. Dewey Welliver, Chauncey. Oh, well, Chauncey was later, but Nalu Leal. All three of us went to the Blue and Gold Nationals, and all three of us came back with the title. We won in 1998. And that was a really great moment for my team. And that was probably the best moment in my amateur career.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, for all of you to go and all of you to come home with wins, that's huge.
Yeah.
Especially at a big
To
tournament.
take the buses, we used to try and raise money on our own, and it was pretty tough, but we did it, and we had a blast.
Yeah, I know I didn't get to do much traveling in the amateurs. I just did the local Chicago Golden Gloves and Nationals because, yeah, you had to pay for everything out of pocket. Very similar to the pros.
Yeah.
A lot of it was
Right?
out of pocket. But, yeah, then I just didn't have the money for it. So,
Yeah.
You don't get as many opportunities because you got to literally pay for everything out of pocket in
Totally.
the amateurs.
Yeah, we did a lot of silly car washes and things like that, and barely got anywhere. Borrowed money and
Yeah.
Raised $20 from this business, $10 from that one. It was crazy trying to travel and fight, but
Yes,
I traveled
definitely.
very little. Yeah.
Yeah. But you in February 4th, it says February 4th of 99 is when you made your pro debut. You did win unanimous,
No, I
right?
debuted in 98 actually.
98. So okay,
I think
so they have that typo. They have that wrong then.
I guess so. Yeah, if in BoxRec it should be there. 1998, I fought Deshaun the Bomb Muhammad.
Well,
That was my
yep,
debut.
that's the fight I was talking about. So either I wrote it wrong or it's wrong.
Yeah, it's
on
98 as far as I know. My whole career.
Okay, well, I'm sure you know better than me. You know better. I just did research.
That's all
so
good.
you know
All
better.
good. I fought Laura Serrano in 99 at the Forum, and yeah,
Yes.
that was when I was 5 fights in already.
Yes, I'm going to ask you about that one
Okay.
too. But so your first pro fight, big difference for you between amateurs versus pros? Did you prefer pros versus amateurs? What was your mindset after your pro debut?
Well, it was an experience because once you get hit with those little gloves, as you know, it's like whoa, you start moving a lot faster. You start moving your head out of the way quicker, and I think you learn way faster in the pros than you do. Even going back to the gym and taking it back to the drawing board, your advancement is faster after you turn pro, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, same for me because I didn't have very many amateur fights either. But the headgear you wouldn't think makes that much difference, but it really does.
Yeah, I never liked that stuff.
No, it's hard to see, and it was bulky and all of that. But taking a punch with it off versus with it on is totally different.
Right.
So yeah, you got a whole different mindset when you go back to train for the
Definitely.
next
You
fight.
get marked up with those little gloves, especially the Reyes gloves, They were hard.
Yeah, even the bruises just from the rubbing.
Right.
So yeah, there's a lot more involved in it.
Totally different.
So we always talk about in boxing, especially women's boxing, it happens in the men's too, but controversial fights. You had a big first controversial fight that took place in 99 when you lost a 4-round split decision to Southpaw great Laura Serrano. You fell to 1-4-4. She improved to 6-0. But that decision was generated by lots of boos from the crowd. Didn't agree with the shutout scorecards from 2 of the judges on Laura's side. Tell us about the fight, how you feel it went, and like just obviously everyone felt like it was controversial. So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, yeah, it was a close fight, but knowing what I know now, that you really have to dominate to win anywhere. Maybe I didn't do enough, but I really thought I had it 3-1. And it was controversial, and I loved that I had a great fight with a great, champion, somebody with a name. I didn't know who she was coming in. Back then we didn't have the internet, the knowledge, but I called around, I found out, I was really, I was so green in that fight, so green, but
Yeah.
it was a great experience. And yeah, I didn't agree with the judges, and she hated me from that day on, but we became friends later.
Yeah, I think and I didn't get along with a lot of girls that I fought immediately afterwards. I mean, some yes, some no, but yeah, look now, like, it's like there's no point. Like we've all been
But
through
I
it.
feel
We've all
like
been through it.
that was her process, that she had to hate everybody that she fought. And I was never like that. It was a sport to me. And when I got in,
Oh yeah,
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 didn't
I
have
was
that.
the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the same as you. Like when we're in the ring, it's business.
Sure.
But like we can be cool before and after, but in the ring, it's totally
Yeah, it's
different.
competition. That's all it is.
Yeah, I didn't take anything personal.
But I remember that experience with Laura Serrano being so tough because, I didn't have a lot of money. I came down for this big fight, and the promoter didn't give me the food money until right before we were going to the venue. And we were there for 3 days or 2 days in LA, and I ran out of money. I had no money. So for the day of the fight, my pre-fight meal was a 7-layer burrito from Taco Bell because I had $2 between my trainer and I. And I kept telling him, John, take a bite. He's like, no, you're fighting. That's how screwed up we were and how tough it was, But those are great memories now because we survived them,
Yeah, I mean, it just made you stronger.
Exactly.
It made you a better fighter.
Part of the fabric. It's all good. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we were talking, I was looking back, and I know, talking about struggling, in February of 2000 is when you decided to make the drive to Las Vegas. I think it stated you had like $200 to your name.
500. That got misreported, but it was 500.
500.
500.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that ain't much more. That's
not
like pennies. But okay, 500. But struggling to make it in the heart of the boxing world, Las Vegas. But this is where you got the help of a stablemate, set you up with meeting with your manager, longtime manager, Louis Tapia, who at the time, according to that, didn't want to meet with you because of your record. But tell everyone about that time in your life, the struggle, the decision to make the move to Las Vegas, why, and then meeting Louis and starting off your boxing career strong.
I was working a lot of dead-end jobs, industrial jobs. Spokane was full of work, so I never had to worry about quitting a job. I could go out the same day and get another one. It was that kind of town. So, but I was working I made windows, like vinyl windows and doors. I was making instrument reeds before I came, and in a little factory with 9 of us. And I just decided if I'm going to give my career a chance. I had 6 pro fights already. I wasn't doing well, As stated, I was 1-3-1 when I fought Laura Serrano, so 1-4-1 after that. So I really wanted to just do better than getting sent to somebody's hometown and losing hometown decisions. So I said, I need to go to the boxing capital of the world. I didn't know anybody here. I just decided, and I bought a car for $1,000. That's all I had. And, it was supposed to last a long time, Nissan.
Yeah.
It was either that or Mazda Miata for the same price, but I didn't know how to drive a stick. So I took the Nissan. 2 weeks later, it broke down on me when I got to Vegas. So at least I got here with it. And
yeah.
But the whole point was I was on my way to California first. I was going to set things up in Las Vegas kind of remotely and then move here ultimately. But when my car broke down, I said, well, I'm here now, so let's just try and make it work. But with $500, as you know, and no place to stay really, I ran out of money. I was staying in a hotel on Industrial for like $32 a night. And it was a pretty shady area, pretty scary.
Yeah.
So I called my friend Victor Ortiz in California, who I knew in the amateurs and stuff, and he was a pro fighter before. I'd met his parents in Simi Valley, and so I asked him, can you call your folks and see if I can stay with them? So he did, and when they picked me up, I had $40 left, so I had one more night and some Taco Bell left in the pocket. So he got me a job with him.
Good timing.
Yeah. He got me a job with him at Pat Clark Pontiac, and I was a lot porter, and I was going to the gym and training. I booked my fight at the Regent Hotel. That's where I met Luis Tapia. A friend of mine that I used to spar with, Dexter Williams in the Nevada Partners, introduced us at the fight. He said, this is my manager, Luis Tapia. And he said, and this is the only girl to ever rock me. And so he told me, well, yeah, come down to the gym, next week. Okay. So, and that's, he put me in with a couple guys to spar. And then he said, well, what are you looking for? What do you want? And I said, well, I just need a place to live and food to eat for like a month. I'll pay you right back. Just give me a fight. And I don't want anything for free. Let's just work. He's like, okay. And I was so lucky in that day. I think he just pitied this poor little waif from Spokane. But, in the end, it all worked out.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, hey, and they don't all. So let's just say that, a blessing in disguise, because some of them have, I feel like most, like 95% of the men in the boxing business, on like whether trainer, manager, promoter, they don't have, like, I feel like they have no feelings. Like they're just like, they don't show any remorse or feelings at all, especially towards the women.
Well, women, we're kind of the outsiders. We're not supposed to be here in a way. We're treading on their territory, it looks like. And I kind of feel the same way. I hate to say it, but like when I see certain women come to the gym, the kind that, the type that think it's a 24-hour fitness, and they're there to pick up men or whatever, it's not that kind of place. And they put us backwards, so that's what.
Very similar to like when they, especially back when I was actively fighting, the rare chance that women got aired on TV.
Exactly.
It was those two type of fighters, and they made us look like shit.
Totally. 100%. And like, still today, I mean, that happens a lot.
They do it today too. I mean, they're getting better. But yeah, I'm like, that's why right there. They just aired that crap.
Yeah. If there's a bad men's fight, it's, hey, those two guys suck. But if it's a women's fight, women's boxing is terrible,
Yeah, don't air it.
It's not fair.
And that's why I think a lot of the time we didn't get it, because they always picked the girls that they felt like looked the best or whatever, but they couldn't fight at all. So they just made us look like trash.
Yeah, they put us all in the same boat, and
Yeah. And it's getting better, but they still do it some. But yeah, it's getting better than it was. But I know back then, every fight I saw, I was like, this is freaking trash, and this is why we can't get exposure.
Yeah.
But
I agree with you.
Yeah. But after that, after returning to the ring, April of 2000, you won your next 6 straight, moving your record to 7-4-1 with an easy win over reigning champ Sandra Yard for the IFBA featherweight title. And you also at that time became the youngest boxer to win the IFBA world title at the age of 21.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about the fight, how you felt it went, and how exciting it was to have your first world title and to break a record.
Oh, that was a thrill. I didn't know about the record until after the fact, but going in, they called me on 2 weeks' notice. Hey, the opponent for the championship fell out. Would you like to fight Sandra Yard for the title? I was in beast shape. They didn't know. I had my peace of mind because Luis put me up in a place to live. I was eating. And so I was training my butt off. I was sparring 10 to 15 rounds a day, running 5 miles every day. And I was in the best shape of my life. So when I went down there, I beat her from post to post. And it was just incredible feeling. And my team, they were glowing. I thought, this is it. I became the champion. Little did I know that didn't come with everything and solve everything. But, it was a great, great feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. I got Women's Boxing Channel is chiming in. He says, hey, Layla. He's told me about this. I think it's pretty cool. I'm doing a new method of pound for pound by stats, starting with current, undisputed, out soon, as I'm sick of bias with sites voting favorites, friends, rather than who should be ranked, i.e. ESPN and Ring. He's doing it for the first era and the second era. I consider WIBF, WBF, IBA, IWBF to be the alpha belts pre-2002. Who do you consider were the pound for pound queens back then?
Oh, wow. That's tough. Gosh, I have to go back in time.
Yeah, right.
Christy Martin for sure was up there. I mean, and she was in that era, of course, and she was the one with the most exposure. Aside from her, we had Hannah Fox and those. But I don't know who was the best. I'd have to watch and remember.
Yeah.
The names were up there. Bridget Riley got notoriety. They all got recognition, which isn't the same as who is legitimately the best, but.
Right.
A lot of good kickboxers. Diane Dutra was there. I mean, we had a lot of fighters. Who was the best? Yeah. I mean, don't know. I think Christy Martin has to have it.
Christy Martin, I think I agree with you. I think Christy Martin would be number one.
Yes, definitely. She was badass. I mean, I don't care who she fought. I mean, they can say the competition wasn't that great or whatever. And I used to say that. I used to criticize a lot. But look, who was there?
Yeah, there wasn't.
She fought who was available, and she did a damn good job.
Yeah. And they said first era being up to 2002 or 2005, second era starting from 02 or 05 to today. From 2002 to today, I mean, from 2002 for the second era, there was way more females.
Sure.
That I think were really deserve to be like, say, top 10. That would be like our era, like when you started before me, but like when I started and you were still there, all the way up till today.
I feel like I was up there in that era. I feel like I was up
there. Yeah, you're still in that era. Yeah, because you really started your career about 2000, 2001-ish, right? Like really like.
Yeah, I mean, 98 was when I turned pro. I had 6 fights when I moved here in 2000. So yeah, I was almost 21 when I came to Vegas, but the best of my career was probably in the 2008, 9, 10.
Yeah.
Through 12
later
was good years for me.
Yeah, I agree. So yeah, I don't know. That's the second era that he's talking about. There's a long list of.
There's a long list, and who I really like now is Senicia Estrada. That little girl she fights like a little boy, and she's like incredible. She's got great skill, tenacity. I really like. Yeah, I like Senicia.
What I'm gonna do once.
Katie Taylor, of course. Yeah.
Katie Taylor, yeah.
She's a great
speaking of the Katie Taylor fight, what did you think of the last fight?
Honestly, I don't know if I watched. That was with Cameron.
Yeah.
I didn't watch the fight. Yeah.
Okay. I feel like I'm really looking forward to the rematch. I did watch the fight, but I feel like something was wrong with Katie. I don't know if she was sick or something, but you could just tell from the ring walk, like something was off.
I honestly feel she's been like that for a couple fights now. Even in the Amanda Serrano fight, I noticed something maybe neurological, the way she.
Yeah.
And her right foot wouldn't hold her. It was something. I think she needs to possibly retire. That's just in my aside opinion, but I think she's had a good career and a good legacy.
Yeah.
And there'd be no.
Something was definitely off. She was slow. She wasn't throwing combinations like hardly at all.
There's something off. Yeah.
Yeah, something was off. So, I don't know if
I respect her as a fighter, but I think it might be time for her to hang him up and before any damage,
Before any permanent damage, yeah.
And Amanda Serrano, of course, has done her thing, and she's been up there
for a long time.
Yeah, doing a lot of good things for women boxing, for the exposure. Some great history moments like the one with Katie Taylor.
Yeah, totally agree.
She's making moves out there.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's so many.
Yeah.
So back to you though. You were nominated by WBAN as the most improved fighter though for 2000. Were you surprised by that, and was that like an important milestone for you?
Oh, it's a great honor, of course, to be recognized, and I feel like it was deserved, and that there was such a great upset moment, taking on the champion, and
yeah, that was a huge fight for you,
and it was a big improvement from my career to that point,
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah.
Well, and going 6 straight in that year. I mean, it was
Yeah, the
phenomenal
seventh
for
one
you.
was the title fight. I think that I was 7 fights straight with Luis.
Yeah,
We won
the 7th was the title fight. Yes.
So that was great, because I had everything I needed for the first time in my life. I had, stability in a way that, I had a roof over my head. I didn't have to worry about, hustling and trying to
Food.
work my butt off to get there.
Yeah.
I just worked my butt off in the gym, and that was perfect, ideal.
Yeah. Totally. Now after that though, you had another big controversial draw with when you were defending your IFBA title in 2001 against Jojo Wyman. You guys fought to a 10-round draw, but everyone felt like it was very controversial. But you had broken, if I believe right, you had broken your hand 2 weeks prior to the fight. Um, at least that's what they stated. I don't know if that's accurate or not,
Might have
but
been before the Chevelle Hallback second fight with her. I did damage my hand, but that was later.
okay. But that was the fight that they didn't let Luis in your
Yeah,
corner for the fight.
there was like 2 years he wasn't in my corner, or a year and a half. He was suspended, so he wasn't allowed to be in my corner when I defended with her, and I defended with Tracy Bird. So it was
Yeah.
pretty tough not having him there mentally, and my head was somewhere else, and that was definitely, probably, I'd say the toughest fight in my career, honestly.
Yeah. Well, and it seemed like from reading about it that you didn't know that he wasn't going to be allowed to be in the corner until that day, right?
I can't remember which fight came first, the one with Tracy Bird or her, but I think, yeah, maybe it was a last minute thing.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that nothing like throwing off a fighter going to the ring without her trainer.
He couldn't even be
for
near the thing, but no excuses. Jojo Wyman came to fight, and my head was elsewhere. And I really feel had I not been the champion, she should have won the decision. I mean, like we say, you have to beat
close
the
fights
champion.
always go. Yeah, close fights should always go to
They
the
lean to the
champion.
champion, and I definitely got a gift in that fight and a draw. Honestly, I feel that she deserved, in an even playing field, she deserved to win that fight for sure. Because I was
Yeah.
busted up. I was looking at the left hands, and I don't know where my head was, but I was eating them and just kind of looking at them like, okay.
And I tell people all the time, I mean, sometimes it's just like a job or anything you do. I mean, sometimes you're there and some days it's just not your day.
Totally.
Like
Yeah.
some days you're just off.
Focus
Whether
is
it's
everything.
mental or physical or emotionally or whatever. Sometimes you're just,
And
it's just you're off.
To me, in my early 20s was an emotional mess. I didn't have my stuff together. My head was up and down. I was the hormones, whatever, I don't know, but I couldn't keep my stuff together. And
Yeah.
I had a lot of fights where, like the second fight with Sandy Yard, I just gave that fight away. 100%. I never should have got beat by her. I mean, I had the speed, I had the skill, I had everything, the youth. But I went there and I gave the fight away. Two rounds in, I was boxing and then, feeling it out. And Luis told me in the corner, "You're fucking this up." Sorry, excuse my language. You're effing this up.
You can say
He
whatever.
said, "If you F this up, this is our last fight together. There's no more fights." So it got really in my head. Me being me, just threw it away. I'm like, really, you want to see effing it up? This is effing it up. So I was in the ring, not paying attention to my opponent, just letting her hit me and looking at him like, no, look, this is what it looks like to mess it up. This is
right.
effing it up.
Like this is me doing it on purpose.
This is me effing it up. Look, boom. You see, that's effing it up. And I was so stupid, and I threw the fight away. And Luis was mad, and so he left me in the corner. He walked away after the fight, and that was tough. Because I wanted to just jump off a bridge. I was so upset with myself, and my head was messed up, and
yeah.
I remember just walking out on that dark highway in Ignacio, Colorado, out of the tent, and I was just like, yeah, that was a tough moment.
Yeah, very emotional, very tough, especially when you feel like you just didn't give it your all.
Yeah,
like,
I wasn't there.
Like you lost yourself. The only opponent you lost to that night was you.
Exactly. And that happened to me multiple times in my career. I can't say, I don't like to disparage anybody's, victory over me, but honestly, I beat myself quite a few times.
Yeah.
At least the last fight with Melissa Hernandez and the fight with Sandra Yard, I threw those fights completely away. And Jojo Wyman, the draw, same way. I just gave it away.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you just can't emotionally or physically beat it.
I always said I need
Yeah.
a team of monkeys that can get in my head and fix the wiring because there's something going on there that I can't.
Yeah. Sometimes if you're just freaking off, you're just freaking off.
Yeah, it's like quicksand. It catches you and you can't pull yourself out of it. You see that you're screwing it up, and the more you say I'm screwing it up, the more you screw it up, and
The worse it gets.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a horrible feeling.
Totally understand that. And then speaking of another one though, I did interview Tracy Bird as well. You were talking about that. You defended against her as well without Luis in the corner. But you did get the victory over Tracy.
Yeah, I dropped her once in that one. Yeah.
Yeah. I know she felt like she won the fight. But you clearly feel like, I mean, obviously you won.
I feel I won that fight. You know, I dropped her, but it was a close fight also. You know, it's 10 rounds. So just dropping somebody doesn't mean you won or,
right.
But, I feel like I won that fight by a small margin. And I fought
okay
3 times in an exhibition in my career, and all fights could have gone either way. Honestly, they were just so evenly matched and
just so close. Yeah.
So close that I wouldn't have been mad either way. I mean, it was, I was the beneficiary, but there were close fights. Yeah.
But great fights. Great fights.
Yeah, thanks.
Women's Boxing Channel said great comments, Layla, about Katie Taylor. At 44, what I love is you ain't desperate to build for undisputed anymore, yet you continually go beat up these young fighters and still take world titles. It's a remarkable career.
Thank you.
Won every fight since 2007, 22 with 5 TKOs. Absolutely. And she would have a lot more than that, Women's Boxing Channel, if people would fight her.
If I could be active, that would be incredible. I should have 100 something fights by now, but it's been so slow in the end of my career. Thank you for those comments.
People don't want to fight you, Layla.
There's that, and there's promotion, and there's a lot of other things besides, you know, hey, they don't want to fight me. You know, it's not always like that. It's like there's a lot of factors as far as money. You know, there's people that would probably fight me if I was willing to go there for $20. You know, but I'm not. And that's the younger me. The younger me goes for whatever.
Yeah, the younger you would have probably been there for $5.
But the me of today feels that she deserves more because she's done. I paid my dues, and you know, I feel like they need to step up with the money. If they don't want to, it's not worth my time. I built my legacy, and that's kind of where I am today. Where, you know, if they don't make it worth my while, I'm probably going to do maybe another fight this year, and I'm thinking just to hang them up.
I'm surprised to hear that, but I understand. I totally understand.
Nothing's making sense money wise, and so you know, I'm not going to go chase fighters around to have them turn around and make me a illegitimate offer and then have to turn it down and look like an, you know.
Right, because then they'll just be like, well, we offered her a fight and
they'll say, oh, she's pricing herself out of the game. Okay, I'm pricing myself out of the game, but I deserve to get paid. So I'm like, you know.
You deserve to price yourself out of the game because we've taken pennies for paychecks for how many years?
The keyboard warrior doesn't understand that, and they like to talk smack about people. But you know what? How many of them have got in the ring like we did it? And you know, they don't have room to talk. So I don't bother me.
And half of them don't even know what it's like to fight a fight for $500 or $1,000 for an 8-round. Like they don't even have a clue.
Or less,
like,
you know, yeah,
or less. I mean, let's not even go there.
Yeah, you know, I've had to chase promoters for money, literally chase them.
Right.
Never get paid.
Well, yeah, because they're like gone. You're like, why didn't I get my paycheck?
Yeah, in the BB King Theater in LA, I literally looked at the promoter from across the kitchen in the back room, and Luis and I chased him. We never caught up with him, but you know, that's the way it is in boxing, I guess.
Yeah. Ugh. I just the not so good memories of boxing.
It's all good. It's in the past, you know.
Sometimes I don't know which one outweighs the other, the good or the bad, but
it's all good stories anyway. You know.
It's all memories. Another great icon though that you did face in 2002, Kelsey Jeffries, for the IFBA featherweight title.
That was my
you came up short on that one, but you were extremely outspoken after that fight, feeling that you for sure won the fight. I have spoken with Kelsey. She definitely feels she won the fight. I just interviewed her a few weeks ago, but can you tell us how you feel the fight went? I mean, I know you made it very outspoken that you think you won the fight. So walk us through the fight.
You know, at the time, you know, time and perspective changes things. Knowing that I'm in her hometown, it's her birthday. I'm fighting in her hometown. I brought my belt to offer, like, you know, here I am defending in her place. So it wasn't ideal. And looking back, I guess I don't think I did enough to win. I have to watch the fight again. At the time, I totally thought I did, mostly because in the last round, I almost knocked her out. I hit her with the right hand, but as we know, that's not enough to win a fight.
Yeah.
So,
especially in someone's hometown.
yeah, and overall, it was a close fight. So, yeah, I'm okay with that decision. It wasn't like that.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah. And sometimes it just takes a matter of sitting down and rewatching and rewatching and rewatching. Like, because I know, like, in the heat of the moment when you're actually in the fight and you like, well, I did this, this, and this, like, I know I got it.
Yeah.
And then you're like, what the hell?
Yeah. And
but then if you go back and watch it.
Yeah, we tend to do that ourselves, fighters, because we want that to be the reality, and we see it that way. We're looking at it from a biased perspective, but when you sit back and reflect, you say, you know what, where we were fighting matters, and I didn't do enough.
It does.
Just like with Jamal Hallback when I fought on ESPN, Teddy Atlas had me winning the fight. I thought I won the fight, but it was such a close margin that, you know what, that's boxing, but the judges had it completely out of whack, like 190 one judge. I mean, it was such a close fight. It was disgusting, that decision, but
and that's the problem with it. Sometimes is like
it's an outright robbery.
It would have been like a point or two's difference. Like, okay,
I'd be okay with that. Yeah, but the other ones were totally.
Two judges or something saying it was a shutout.
Yeah, that was corrupt. But overall, I don't feel too bad about the loss, because I feel like, it was close enough. If I was on an even territory, not her promotion, I could have pulled it out. But we were fighting in her town. Both times.
Totally. You did win though your second title, junior welterweight GBU title, with a win over Lisa Hollowin.
Oh yeah, that's great. Yeah.
Yeah. How was that fight, and getting that second title? Was that just as exciting as the first, or just kind of like, oh, another belt?
No, that one felt amazing, because we're fighting in her promotion, and we pulled it out this time. We were able to take the victory, and I was in such great shape and just trying new things and excited about boxing. I was doing feints, and she was so big that it made the feints work beautiful. She was big and kind of slow. So every time I got close to the corner, I would feint left and go right, throw a right hand, or feint left, go left and throw a left hook, whatever. And a few times I did a triple feint. It was so beautiful, like left, right, left, boom, and then move. It was so pretty of a fight that I was really proud of that. And I got to meet Barbara Buttrick for the first time, because that was for the GBU. Yeah. And that was pretty neat to meet a pioneer like Barbara, who, in her own right.
I have not had the pleasure of meeting her. I mean, I hope one day before it's all over, I'll get to meet her. But
she's in England now. She lives.
I know. I'm kind of hoping that she'd come to the inductions one of these years, but
yeah, she's up there now in age. But
harder to travel.
Yeah, she's in good shape for her age. She's a great person, and I really love Barbara a lot.
Yeah, I do. Very similar though. When I went and fought Mia in Mexico for the rematch, I had the same feeling when I won the WBC title, when I took that from her, because it was in Mexico.
Exactly.
I think it made it that much greater.
Exactly. Yes.
Because when I beat her the first time, I was a replacement fighter. I wasn't even supposed to be fighting her. And I beat her the first time, and she made it this big thing that I only won because I was the favorite fighter. I mean, I wasn't even from there.
Huh.
It was in Indiana. I'm not even from Indiana, but she wanted the rematch, and it had to be in Mexico. And I'm like, okay, no problem, as long as you put up your belt, or at least one of them. She had multiple belts at that time. So we did get the title fight, but winning, and it was a decision over there.
Right.
Same type of thing, like a huge, like, I don't know. It just made it that much more
100%. Yeah.
Special, because you took it from them in their home territory, like their home territory. And a decision. That's like huge.
That's the best feeling. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had that feeling myself, in other countries, and it's just I've beat I think at least 4 undefeated fighters in their own country. South Africa, New Zealand, Japan, and Canada. Jelena Mrdovich's first loss. And
yes, that's the next question. That's what I had for you. Jelena Mrdovich, February 12, 2015, you handed her first loss in Canada, her hometown. But I have the same feeling similar to that though, because I traveled and fought Mary McGee in her hometown when she was 17-0.
Oh wow,
Gave her her first
nice,
loss in Indiana.
nice.
I only think I had like 5 fights at the time. But
Incredible.
after the fight, I kind of giggled because after the fight, they asked you what advice you would give the hometown fighter after you beat her, and you said I would tell her not to take another fighter against someone with something from some not 30 something fights when she only has 9.
Right.
I thought that was a great and hilarious answer.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about that night, beating her, giving her her first loss, and then like obviously the after questions. I just thought that was awesome. Like I rolled laughing when I read when that's what you said, because I was like, that's like a perfect answer.
Yeah, was that in our first fight? That I think the interview was probably
Yeah, that was the first one, I think.
Was it? Well,
Yeah.
we fought 3 times, all 3 in Edmonton, Canada, her hometown. The first
Yeah.
time she was 9-0, and I had 30 something fights. I'm like, what are they thinking? You know. So we were able to sneak in there and do what I had to do to win. And right before the fight, her trainer, somebody came to her trainer because we heard from the other room. Louis was in the next room, and he heard him say, "Why are you fighting this girl? She has too much experience." Da 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 da. He's like, "Well, it's too late now. What do you?" And
We're here.
We're here already, you know. But it was good, you know. I was able to pull that off, and then the rematch a few months later, I knew I had to knock her out to win because they had it stacked against me. I knew that.
Yeah.
But I was prepared to do it. I said no problem. But as you know, I broke my arm. I threw a wild punch in the 5th round, just kind of straight armed her right in the head. Almost knocked her out with that punch. I saw her wobble, and then I was, you know, but my bone snapped, the radial bone. So
Yeah, and you had to finish the fight with one arm.
yeah, I finished the fight with one arm. I wasn't able to pull the victory, but I told myself, you know, I might lose this fight, but I'm not going to lose by knockout. Screw that.
Right.
I mean, I'm
Yeah.
just going to lose by decision, and we'll have a rematch or whatever, you know. And so I went through the
Yeah,
fight, 3 more. I think it was a 8-round fight, so three rounds plus to go. And it just got dirty because she was hitting me in the arm. She realized something's wrong with it, and I'm like, ugh, it was so painful. I just was taking it away from her, like hit me in the head or the body or something. Don't hit me.
Right. Hit me anywhere but my arm.
Anywhere there. Yeah, and then the third fight, it took me 3 years to get her back in the ring because, you know, they ran away with it. They talked crap online, and you know, we beat Layla McCarter. I was the #1 lightweight at the time. I was the WBA light. No, not yet, but I was the #1 lightweight, and the only way I got her back in the ring 3 years later was putting up my WBA lightweight title against her in her hometown. So I'm like, here we go again, you know.
Yeah, same scenario.
Yeah,
of
and
course.
she had the WBC 130-pound belt at the time. She didn't defend. I defended, and I
Yeah.
made her pay for all the pain of the fight before.
Yeah, and I fought. Yeah, and it's very hard. I know that Eric and everybody that's with Talkin Fight is from Canada and all this, but I traveled to Canada also, and when I fought Olivia Garula, and she was defending her WBC featherweight. I can't remember if it was featherweight or I don't know, one of them. And yeah, I lost the decision. Didn't agree with the decision, but
yeah, that's always how it is.
but yeah, it's very hard I feel like to win. It's hard to win in anybody's hometown, but
Definitely.
even more so overseas.
And when we
I
went to
feel.
South Africa was the hardest. I mean, I felt that was me against the world in a way. You know, when we went there, it was all African. You know, they were doing the war stomps and the
Yeah,
promoter was talking crap all week. Oh, we're gonna knock you out on Friday or Saturday, whatever it was. I'm like, yeah, okay, we'll see.
yeah,
And I trained my butt off, and in the 8th round, I caught her with a good left hook and made her eyes roll, and I hit her again to make sure she got her out of there. And that was probably the greatest knockout. I think, yes, definitely the greatest knockout of my career. Because the way she
yeah,
fell with her arms above her head, I'm like, she's not getting up. Gave her a
yeah.
nice little
Sometimes
count.
you just know.
Huh?
Sometimes you just know, like when you hit them.
Yeah, but I was surprised she actually got off the ground, but she was stumbled, and the referee stopped it when he should have. But if she could have survived to the final bell, I knew that I was going to get screwed on the scorecards. So that probably was my greatest moment that I can remember, and what a feeling that was.
Yeah, that's huge, so huge. Let's see. Women's Boxing Channel says, what will you do after retirement? Will we see you doing commentaries? you speak so well, or maybe coach or manage. You need your own show on Talkin' Fight, Eddie says.
Oh, well.
Hey, she could join us on Talkin' Fight.
That's kind of you. That's really nice to say. I don't really know. I want to do something involved with travel. I love to travel. That's my main passion. So anything that can afford me the means to travel, I'm down.
Okay, well, there you go. And you could always do commentating and travel,
True. Maybe a travel
or
blog.
refing, or coaching. If you coach, you can travel with the fighters.
Yeah, it's not my thing. I feel like for boxing, it's a very personal thing for me. I'll probably be around spreading knowledge and, pass down some tips, but I'm not going to be a coach because without me in the driver's seat, it's not me. It's not for me. I don't know how to
Yeah.
explain that, but
Yeah, if it's not you doing it, it's the passion isn't the same.
yeah, I can't be a driving coach. I got to be in the driver's seat. Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. I totally get that. November 17th, 2006, though, you did win a clear unanimous decision over Belinda Laraquente for the vacant GBU lightweight world title. And then you also defended the GBU title and added the WBA lightweight title with a knockout win over, I feel like at the time, overrated Donna Biggers in January of 2007. So you added 2 more titles to your resume. How do you feel about those fights and then adding even 2 more titles?
Oh, that was amazing to add the WBA title because, as you know, people tend to respect the main organizations.
Yeah.
The main organizations more.
I know what you mean.
But,
yeah.
Honestly, where were they when the IFBA and the WIBF and GBU were there backing us up? They weren't willing to support us. They weren't willing to back us up. So
they wouldn't let us fight for their belts.
As much or more. But anyway, it was great to add a big name belt such as the WBA. It was a great moment. Also, Donna Biggers, she was 18-3, but smaller than me. I feel like a little bit overrated too. Belinda.
Not that it wasn't a good fight for you. It
was a great fight for me. It was a great fight.
I think it was. I'm trying to remember. There was an all-female card that I fought on in California that I fought. That was like my 4th pro fight. But Chevelle was on that fight card. That's when I met Chevelle. Kelsey Jeffries was on it. Elena Reed.
Was I on that show?
Terry Blair. No, you weren't at that one.
Okay, I was on an all-women show there in Lemoore.
It was in Temecula, California. Okay. I think like 2007-ish.
Yeah, somewhere around then. I was in one in Lemoore, California, I think, or somewhere around there.
Okay. But Donna fought someone on that card. I'm trying to remember who it was that she fought, but I think she got knocked out on that card too.
Wow.
And she was like 18-0 or 18-1 or I don't know. But when I watched her fight personally, I just felt like she was overrated.
Yeah.
At the time.
Yeah, she had a good record and that's about it. But Belinda Laraquente was a great fighter, somebody I respected from the
great fighter
that she fought Christy Martin, and I thought she should have got the decision at that time. I watched it real close, but again, she's fighting on Christy's show, so I know how it is. But I thought Belinda fought a skilled fight there.
Yeah, and Belinda's definitely one of those top people we were talking about. There's so many. It would be so hard with him doing that list to really get an accurate list. I think, especially he's talking. Well, I guess depends on how many he's going down. But if you just did like top 10, that would be really hard to do.
Yeah, what I was thinking of Bonnie Canino. She fought a lot of good fights. And that nobody was there. I forgot about Bonnie. How could I forget her? She was like headlining all these fights.
Yeah. Bonnie,
Yvonne Reese was there. All of it.
Yeah, Yvonne Reese, Bonnie Canino,
Kathy Collins was a kickboxer.
There's a lot of them. I don't know. The list goes on and on.
Yeah.
But I do believe you did contract and fought some 12-round fights as well as some 3-minute round fights, correct?
A lot. Actually, we did 3-minute rounds exclusively in Nevada starting with the Belinda Laraquente fight. We did 10 3-minute rounds for the title fight. That was a historical thing. And when we fought Donna Biggers, that was 12 3-minute rounds that I got approved with the WBA, with the GBU, and with the Nevada State Athletic Commission.
Yeah.
In 2000, when I fought Belinda, I petitioned the commission to allow for women to fight 3-minute rounds, to change their policy and allow for it. And that's what they did. They did it like a waiver system. If they both agree, they can fight 3-minute rounds. So the door is open.
It is open, and I feel like it still is. It's just got to be agreed upon on both sides and with all
More people
organizations,
have to push for it, but there's also some powerful organizations against it, and that's what's really holding it back, and that will make it, I won't say impossible, but it's going to make it very, very difficult to allow 3-minute rounds.
Yeah.
It's a shame.
Well, okay, because people always ask this question now that we've had, and I always tell people, I personally wouldn't have signed a 3-minute round contract unless the pay was equivalent for a 3-minute round fight.
I hear you. Yeah, but
because we already got shit on so bad with our purses
exactly.
and our pay that we already weren't even close to what we should have been making for me to give you that extra time.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
But now that you, and I always tell people we could do it, no problem. Every female that I know, there's not one girl in this whole world that trains 2-minute rounds when they're training. We all train 3-minute rounds. And I used to train 30 seconds break instead of a minute in between. So I said, we've all done it. And we all normally, when we're in camp or getting ready for a fight, we spar 12, 15 rounds.
3-minute rounds.
Like we can easily do the same amount of rounds in time. We can do it. It's not a problem.
I've only ever trained 3-minute rounds in my life. I always train 3-minute rounds. And
right. So, but since you actually fought it, was it really any different or harder for you to fight the 3-minute rounds?
It was great, and it was more professional. I had time to set it up, to gauge the distance, and then, you know, as soon as you start to find that range, the bell wasn't clanging. So it was like, great, you'd have another minute to, you know, try and get them out of there. And I feel like women's boxing would have so many more knockouts if we allowed that extra minute. Because if you look at even men's fights, that action heats up in that last minute. You know, we're really deprived of great action. And to your point about getting paid, if you're waiting for better pay for it to happen, it's never, ever, ever going to happen.
No.
To be fair. No. So I feel like it's just an extra sacrifice to be doing the same thing, because otherwise it's one more thing that they can use against us to say, we don't have to pay you right, because, you know, you're doing less.
Yeah.
So it kind of has the extra mile on that one, I feel.
Yeah. I agree with that point too. I agree with that totally. Now, speaking of all your opponents that you face, you've definitely been in the ring. I kind of spoke about it a little bit in the introduction, but you've been in the ring with the best in the business in so many different weight classes. Just to name like some of the biggest names people would probably know, we've got Laura Serrano, Elena Reed, Melissa Del Val, Joe Wyman, we talked about, Tracy Bird 3 times, Alicia Ashley, I also fought her, Jessica Rakosi, Fujin Rakia, Ada Velez, Kelsey Jeffries, Chevelle Hallback twice, Elena Murdovic 3 times, Dakota Stone, Belinda Claire-Quente twice, Melissa Hernandez, I believe 4 times.
Yeah, 4 times. 4 times. 3 and 1. The one I gave away. Yeah.
Cindy Serrano and Domingo Olivia. Those are just to name a few of the very notable, iconic females that she's been in the ring with. Tell us, I think you kind of already talked about it, but which one of those fighters you feel like was the toughest or the best opponent you faced, and why?
Again, I think Jojo Wyman would have to be up there, but also my head wasn't there, so it's hard to gauge exactly how it really was. You know, for me, it was a tough fight for both reasons, myself and, you know, for her. But she's a good fighter, and nothing to take away. Aside from her, geez, I don't know. I think she's definitely hands down the toughest.
Okay. Well, and it was, I mean, it was a great fight either way.
And Chevelle, we put good fights, you know. Chevelle and I had good competitive fights, and Belinda's a great fighter. But yeah, I think that's about it.
Okay. Women's boxing set, Brooke, that all women's card was your 5th fight. Okay, my 5th fight. Shin Hee Choi. Okay, Shin Hee Choi beat Elena Reed. Kelsey Jeffries it was Kelsey Jeffries that fought Donna Biggers. Chevelle Hallback beat Terry Blair. And yes, that fight between Chevelle Hallback and Terry Blair was a fucking war.
Yeah.
That was like the best fight I think I've ever seen in person.
I like the one with her and Hernandez as well.
Yes, I like that one too. I don't know, but her and Terry, man, they were banging.
I have to look at that one again.
Yeah, check that one out again. I think, if I remember right, Chevelle told me that Terry hurt her ribs pretty good in that fight. But it was a great fight.
Kelsey's up there too on my list, you know, as far as good fighters that I fought that put a tough, was a good fight.
Yeah, and they says Elizabeth Moreno is who I fought, and I drew with her. Yes, technically it was considered a draw because she got cut, and we didn't finish
Ah,
4 rounds, so they ruled it a friggin' draw. But I was winning, and actually, I don't know why he didn't stop the fight.
right,
It should have been stopped because she wasn't even fighting back.
right.
But yes, technically I got a draw. Melissa Schaefer beat Sandra Ortiz. Yeah, Melissa Schaefer. There were so many great fighters on that card.
You know,
Chevelle won unanimous decision. Yes, she did. Chevelle did win the fight, but it was a great fight.
fighting Fujin Raika in Japan was one of the coolest moments too, because it was like in 2002. I was so young, and I was a featherweight, and we flew over. They didn't, they flew us really close to the fight, so we didn't have time, and a lot of water weight. So I came in weighing 132, and I had to be 126.
Yeah, 126.
And it was the day of the fight. They weigh in the same day of the fight. So we flew over.
Oh, wow.
We only had one day to rest and kind of go to the gym, and then
yeah, with jet lag.
and then we waited and fought, and then we came back. So it was 4 total days, like all together. And it was sick because I was so upside down and heavy. So I lost 8 pounds in 2 hours the morning of the fight.
Oh, wow.
Weight. So had I not been so weak, I think I could have got her out of there. But I ended up winning the decision in Japan, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
She was in comic books. She was a big star over there.
Big star over there. Very.
So I took her and I came home, and it was a great feeling. Then I gave her a rematch for my lightweight title about 7 years later in the South Point here in Vegas, and that was also another victory. But what a tough girl she is, a tough competitor, a warrior. I really like Raika.
Yeah, I agree totally. She's definitely a great fighter for sure.
Yeah.
You were named 10 best female boxers of all time list in the Ring Magazine January 2016 issue. How did you know about that before the issue came out, or did they let you know, or did you just like read it? And how exciting was it to read your name in Ring Magazine top 10?
I've been in Ring Magazine quite a few times, but that was a pretty nice acknowledgement. Although I thought I should have scored higher. Honestly, that's the ego of me. It's just that I think I should have been rated higher than number 10, but that's fighters and ego. So
hey, we all, I agree. We're all that way though.
Yeah. So
we feel like we've done more.
It's hard to say, but I feel like I deserve to be higher on that list.
Yeah.
Considering
I agree. I totally agree. I can't even remember though at the time
who was on it.
Like I remember the issue coming out, and I remember being like super excited for you and for being up there. But I can't even remember the names.
Me either, really. I remember I felt that I deserved to be above a few of them at least.
Yeah.
And but all of those Ring magazines are great to have, and it's a great acknowledgement. So I keep all of them. I'll buy a couple copies, and I have them stored in a box.
Yeah, keep them. Yeah. And because I can remember even going back sometimes like when I was ranked, and there'd be people that I had beat that were ranked higher than me.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird how they do it.
And I'm like, I beat them. How are they ranked higher than me?
Yeah. Or people that you even stopped. It's like, okay, well.
Yeah.
Weird.
I'm like, come on. Like
it's so subjective.
And like, did you forget to update the rankings or what? Like, did you forget about that loss they just took over there?
Like the women's boxing channel said, it's subjective, and who's the favorite at the moment and whatever,
Absolutely.
And some of them I am a beneficiary of, so I'm like, cool, I like that rating, but
yeah,
it just depends who and where.
Boxing, if you know, we'll just say that.
The older I get, the more honest I get about it, though. I'm I weigh it out, I think about it, but yeah,
it's boxing. I just what I always tell people. I'm like, either or you know. If you know, if you don't, like, just forget it.
Yep.
But you have already been honored by the notorious Nevada and California Boxing Hall of Fame, as well as the International Women's Boxing Hall of Fame, and going to be honored this year for your over 25-year career at the inductions coming up. Tell us how important those things were to you and your experience at the inductions.
Yeah, most Hall of Fames, you have to be retired 5 years or so to be inducted. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to be in the Nevada one and the international one. And I was inducted in California early. And the West Coast Boxing Hall of Fame is inducting me on next October. And the first 2 inductees they announced was Roberto Duran and me. I was like, oh my God, this is beyond the dream. It's yeah. I'm not worthy, I feel like sometimes it's just, it's great. I'm not gonna, I'm happy to wait.
But you are.
You know, I said
You're
I'll wait till I'm retired. That's a great thing. But you know, Rick Ferris of the West Coast, he said, you know what, I'm tired of waiting. You know, I'm going to induct you in next year. So
Yeah. Well, congratulations. You are very worthy of all of them.
But
You definitely deserve
the WBAN Awards is very special to me because Sue Fox, as you know, has been our biggest advocate as women fighters.
100%. I talk about Sue on every single episode.
Yeah.
And WBAN, like every episode.
Who would have heard of us fighting if it wasn't
Nobody.
Sue Fox?
Nobody.
The only one putting us up there. And
I literally tell everybody go to WBAN. You can find literally anything on literally 99% of females that have ever boxed on her page. You know, there might be a few that aren't on there because she just didn't have info.
Yeah, WBAN and my career started the same year. We both in 1998 WBAN launched, and so was my career. And I met Sue Fox early on, and I just so much respect for her going into her pocket, you know, so many times just, you know, out of the sheer love of the sport and the advocacy for us. So
yeah,
you know, she was a fighter. She understands, and you know, God bless Sue Fox.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally. 100%. God bless Sue. Love her to death. Love WBAN to death. We would be nowhere without them.
And she's giving me the honor this year of the 25 years.
Over 25 years in the game. Yeah. It's funny. It's not funny, but it's funny, but it makes me feel like our age because you started boxing in 99.
98.
98. Well, I keep saying 99. 98. But I graduated high school in 1999.
Okay.
Because I'm only 2 years younger than you.
I think I did too. Anyway, in 1999, I graduated because I was 20 when I got my diploma late.
Okay. So we graduated, but then I went to the Army, so we did that, and then I got into boxing after that. So I got a later start. I did amateurs 2002 to 2006. I went pro in 2006. So a little bit later start than you, but
I got a really early.
Every time I look back on it, I'm like, man, that's the year I graduated. That's a long time ago.
It's crazy to think about it, you know. It's because sometimes I'll be sparring with these guys in the gym that weren't born when I won my first world title, and I'm like,
yeah,
what?
It's like what?
I'm like, I was young once too. Damn it, whippersnapper.
Yeah, we're only as young as we feel.
Right. I was skinny too. I was like, I was a featherweight once. Look at this picture.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, not anymore.
I was a featherweight too for a long time.
I fought in super bantamweight like twice or 3 times.
And then I had 3 kids.
Oh my goodness. Good for you.
Well, actually, let's say I had one before I started. So she grew up with boxing, but I've had 2 since I retired.
I gotta respect that. That's so hard to think about having a baby on top of that with a physical thing and the mental thing, you know, the distraction of
it's hard. And that's why I always tell people, I'm like, not only did we have to work full-time jobs and box part-time on the side, like a couple hours a day. I had a daughter when I started boxing.
Yeah, I can't
imagine. So she lived in the gym. Like we were at the gym every night.
I had it relatively easy, you know, myself, because I could focus on the sport, and I'm so blessed that was my case, because that's why I started early and I was able to stay in it. But like, I could not imagine doing what you did, you know, raising a child as well.
It's hard. It's very hard. And it takes a lot away from them, I feel like. And that's kind of why after I got pregnant with my second one, that's when I retired.
Yeah.
My career was nowhere near over. I was just peaking in my career, I feel like, kind of. But I got pregnant with my second one. I'm like, I'm not going to want to get back into that kind of shape. It takes a lot to have 2 kids to train with and then travel for fights. And I was like, it's too much. Like I need to, and it's dangerous.
I get
I'm like, my kids, I need to focus. So
I remember Sandra Yard had a son, and he's all grown up and married, and you know, like all the people that I fought that have had kids, now they have grandkids. It's freaking weird.
Yeah, I don't have any grandkids, thank goodness, yet. But my oldest, she'll be 20 this year.
But see, you could. She technically could have, you know.
So she could, but no.
Grandma Brooke.
And then my middle one is 11, and then I have a 2-year-old son that just turned 2.
What a trip, huh?
Yeah. So I've got got a toddler.
Tracy Bird's son, also Stephen. I remember seeing him as a little boy by the ring when we fought. And now he's grown up with his own kids, and it's just like spectacular, you know, to see.
It's crazy. It's the world takes us where it takes us. It is what it is. It was all meant to be in its own little path.
Yep. Beautiful.
But I also do think it's phenomenal. You were the second female ever to sign with Mayweather Promotions in February of 2017. Tell us what it's like working with, what it was like, or you're not still signed with them, are you?
No, but we're still good, and I still train in his gym. I train in his
Okay,
gym
yeah,
every
I
day.
knew that, but I didn't think you were still signed with him. But what is it like? What's Floyd really like? What's it like working with Floyd? Was it a good experience working with Mayweather Promotions? Do you feel like it helped your career or made a difference at all?
You know, having the Mayweather name behind you can't help but help you, you know, in the sport. So it was good for me in that to have the Mayweather name behind me. We signed for 3 fights a year with him, with the Mayweather Promotions. It's two separate things. Floyd isn't Mayweather Promotions, you know, it's run by
Yeah,
his people. So I only got 2 fights in 2 years with them. So um, I just said, you know, I'm going to need my contract back, no hard feelings. And they understood.
yeah,
So we're still cool. And, you know, with Floyd, I had gone back to when we used to train at Nevada Partners. We were in the same gym. So, you know, I knew the Mayweather family for years and years. And,
yeah,
you know, the opportunity came to sign with them, and we finally did. So
yeah.
yeah, it was
Which
a
is
good thing overall. I mean, nothing to
I mean,
regret.
I don't feel like it could ever hurt you, but so it really didn't.
I got a
It
lot of
didn't like
respect for
benefit
Floyd.
at all because you didn't get any more fights really out of it at the time.
Yeah, I only got the 2 fights, and one of them, that last one at the MGM with the girl from Argentina. They called me on a week's notice to fight at the MGM, to fight the co-main event. They said, "Can Layla fight the 10 round co-main event and on Saturday or whatever?" And I'm like, "Well, I guess since there wasn't a fight, you know, this whole time, I need to just take it." But I
Yeah.
looked like crap. You know, I really didn't look good in that fight. It was an embarrassment to me. I won, but you know, big deal. It wasn't a great performance. You know, you need to look good in those moments, and
Yeah.
I didn't.
It's in that spotlight, you feel like you want to shine, and they didn't give you that opportunity.
Yeah, I was in the Mayweather card Friday night, and they had a big card on Saturday. So we fought like the pre-fight, you know, the fight before.
Right. Got you. Makes
But
sense.
anyway, you know, it's all good.
Yeah. All good. All good. I know it's very hard for you, and it has been, was for a lot of us, but very hard for you, and it's very frustrating trying to get fights, and be consistent and stay active. I know Chevelle has that issue. A lot of us have faced issues with trying to get fights and opponents and stay consistently active. Um,
It's
there were
almost
so many,
impossible now. Yeah,
yeah. I mean, there were so many fights that I wanted, that I tried to get, that they wouldn't sign the papers, or there was always an excuse or one thing or another. But
yeah.
do you have any fights in the works now, or anything scheduled, or anything coming up soon?
I feel like any fights that we do, we're gonna have to create ourselves, and that's how it's always kind of been anyway lately.
Yeah.
So August, we're talking about maybe promoting a local show in Las Vegas with my friend Thel Torrance of Platinum Promotions. So we might bring it back to the Orleans Casino. I would like that very much because I fought the main event there for 2 or 3 years. It's like my home base.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
and it's where the Hall of Fame, where the inductions are, so that'd be cool.
exactly, that would be appropriate. It would be nice to do it on the same weekend, but she's already got a two-day event going there. So yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, shit, I do it the weekend that we're gonna be there, so
We'd
I
have
can
to make it a 3-day event then, and I don't know
yeah,
how
make it
many
a
people
3-day
can
event so
travel.
we can all come watch the fight.
That would be awesome. I would love to coordinate that, but we'll
That
see.
would be
We'll
fabulous.
see. Yeah.
Yes. See if you can plan that out, because yeah, I'll definitely come early.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I
I
would
think we
love
can
to
just
watch it.
bring it back locally because I have a lot of fans here and a lot of
Yeah.
support. And all my poker friends, you know, I play Texas Hold'em in Las Vegas, so I've got everybody from the Caesars Palace, Venetian, Mirage. They always come out and back me up. Like when I fought in the BKB at the Mandalay Bay, I had a ton of them at the fight, you know.
Yeah. That would
So
be awesome.
yeah,
Like,
any promoter with any sense could say, you know, let's put Layla on. She's a good
yeah.
girl. But
Tell Luis we need to make that happen the weekend of the induction, so that everybody from the induction can come support you. You know how, I mean, there would be so many female greats there watching you.
would be great the night before the gala, maybe. But then we
Yeah.
have the meet and greet the day before, you know, the cake and the ceremony. I might have to
Yeah.
skip that one, but it's
We
possible.
could work it out.
I
I
think
don't
so.
know. We could,
It'd be in the same ballroom though. So yeah, the Mardi Gras ballroom is where we promote it. But
that's
we'll
where the
see.
fights are.
Hmm.
Ah,
Yep.
I don't know.
Oh,
That's,
we'll work on that one.
yeah, that's be one for the night for sure.
But in any
Is there
case, it'll probably be
anybody?
late August, if anything.
Okay. Is there anyone that you would officially like to call out right now, or that you want to fight before you're done?
Not really. I think I don't have any names on my list or anything that makes any kind of sense. I mean, I chased everybody that was there at the time, and nobody wanted to step up. So,
Yeah.
you know, if there's money to be made, I know maybe some of them would, but
Yeah.
like Cecilia Brækhus is back in the game, but like,
Yeah, I was surprised by that, but
I
yes,
don't care.
I saw
Nobody
that.
cares.
Yeah, nobody cares. I didn't care.
McCaskill didn't want to do it at any point when she was up there. Now she's trying to fight here and there, and I think that's good for her. It just maybe it doesn't make sense for them either. Maybe they're not getting the
I'm
right.
still
tools.
trying to figure that one out. So they never, after she lost that last fight, I mean, I never read anything about it, but technically she lost her belts.
Right. She should have. I don't know.
So I haven't ever heard really, and she hasn't fought, I don't think, since then.
I feel like Eddie Hearn doesn't care about promoting her. It's all about Katie Taylor, Chantel Cameron.
Yeah, totally. But I still feel like technically because she should have lost her belts, even
Right.
because she went in a different weight.
Yeah. So
But
they
they've never
probably
really technically said that. So I'm still trying to figure that one out. But
yeah, I mean, yeah, she was good for the thing. She went up and got Cecilia Brækhus, got some belts. Good for her, but neither one wanted to step up and do the right fight. So
right, totally.
it's okay. I'll live with it.
It is. I mean, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, but I also think it's promotion and money too, so I get it.
It is. And I mean, speaking of the money and stuff, I know the most that I ever made in my entire career, and I have no problem talking about it at all whatsoever. Now I'm retired, I really don't care, but was 4K when I fought Mia for the rematch in Mexico. I got $4,000. I'm sure she got way, way, way freaking more than me, but that's what it is. I was the opponent. But have you at least been able to get some decent paydays throughout your career, especially continuing to fight past when women's boxing has started to peak a little bit lately? Have you been able to get some decent paydays?
I can't really at liberty to say much what my max payday has been or whatever because it can interfere with negotiations but I've made okay money, but not where it should be at all.
Right. Well, I don't think it'll ever be where it should be, but
yeah, it's never gonna probably happen for me but it's okay,
right.
I'm hanging in there, and if they make me an offer, I can't refuse. I'm there.
Right. And that's why I always laugh because people are always like, why don't you come out of retirement and fight some of these girls with all these belts? Because, we didn't get to fight for undisputed. Like, we didn't even have that opportunity. Like,
and
never.
I don't care about the belts, to be honest. Like, everybody's a freaking champion now. So what good is a belt if everybody has one?
Right. And I said, it would take, like, if somebody called me tomorrow with, like, a big payday offer.
Right.
Oh, yeah, I would get back in shape and come out of retirement. I have no problem. I miss boxing. I have no problem doing it. But I'm not going to come out of retirement for nothing. Like, why?
Exactly. It doesn't make sense. And I've proved myself. I've gone to home countries. I beat people, given their first loss. I won titles. I had a great career and a lot of fun. And whatever happens, I'm okay. I would have liked to get a piece of that today's money, but in reality, it's not what it looks like. I think Eddie Hearn's getting cheap on the sport now.
Even it's just it's a very select few.
Yes. Yeah.
Is what it is. The ones that they're spotlighting, they're getting the money, but those, not that other ones aren't getting more than we made, back then, they're getting more than that. But
I heard,
not all of them are making that 6-figure range. Like, they're not.
Did you see the fight with Ramla Ali this weekend and getting knocked out?
I did not see that, but I did see the highlights.
That was a great knockout, and
the knockout was phenomenal. Was she
winning away with $4,500? I think.
How much?
4,500. That's what I heard. That the opponent Guzman, the one that won the title, won. She made 4,500 walking away. That's it. That's what I heard. I would like to see confirmation.
I'm sure Ramla Ali got paid more than that.
Sure, she did, but also she probably wasn't making what
No, not what they were making, not what the other top ones are making, but I'm sure she made more than that.
She probably made fair money, okay money. Yeah.
Because she's real big right now. Like, she's the
one they're promoting. Yeah.
Yes. And was she winning the fight up to that point?
No.
No? Okay. No. Because someone had told me, well, she was winning the whole fight. It was just like a one punch knockout. And I said, It didn't seem that way to me from the highlights.
No, it was a close fight because, but every punch that Guzman landed was a hard punch.
Yeah.
She was rough and, not entirely totally skillful, but I mean, she could hit and she really put the fight in it. So it was great. It was
Yeah.
great to see that fight. It was
Yeah.
one of the best fights of the night, and it was the
Well, that's
female.
good. Yeah. Because I saw her fight on Rama Ali fight on the all women's card. Which one was it? Her last fight before that one was like an all women's card. I can't remember if it was the Katie Taylor fight or if it was the Clarissa Shields fight. One of those fights, she was on the undercards, and there were several of them. They were talking about the up and coming like greats or whatever. And I thought she was decent, but I was like, I was kind of like skeptical. I'm like, I don't think she's all they're making her out to be once she steps up in competition. And I feel
I feel like she's very amateur, has a lot to learn and overrated for sure. I worked a friend of mine's corner with her trainers, Michaela Nebel. She fought her. Yeah, she's a nice girl, and she was inspired by my story to move to Las Vegas when she had an upside down record. So she followed in my footsteps and came to Vegas, and she made a career, but she wasn't as lucky as me finding the right backing and things like that. But
yeah, I still talk to her since the inductions.
She's a great little fighter and a good person, and it's a shame that not everybody can find the right,
yeah, I know she's been struggling. She was struggling quite a bit.
I respect her a lot though, and she fought Ramla Ali. She put a good fight with her, and didn't get on the positive end of it, but
yeah, she going back and forth between what to do with boxing and not boxing and all of that stuff. And he said, that only you can decide that one. Nobody can decide that for you.
Yeah, I was just happy to help her out in the corner. She asked me if I'd be in the corner with them, and I'm like, yeah.
And that makes all the difference, I'm sure. That especially for her if she's not having much success with people. That makes
me a lot as a young fighter, and so that meant a lot to me that somebody read my story, that somebody really followed my footsteps and said, I'm going to go to Vegas like Layla McCarter, and I'm going to do this.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It means I wasn't invisible. Thanks, Sue Fox.
Yeah, you're not invisible. Definitely not invisible.
Thanks to Sue Fox.
Speaking of women's boxing we're talking about today, what do you think of the fighters today compared to the fighters from our past generations?
Oh, I think they're getting better and better. I think there's a lot of skill out there, more or less, but not all. I mean, just overall, there's more good fighters. Back then, there were a few good fighters, but, in some ways it goes in circles. Like, we held ourselves to higher standards back in the day. I feel like, we trained with the men, we sparred with the men, and if we weren't at the men's level, we didn't belong there. And a lot of the fighters today, they train 2-minute rounds, or they dumb it down because the trainers say, no, you're not a man, you're a woman,
Yeah, totally.
I feel like that's negative to the sport.
I agree 100%. Let's see. Women's Boxing Channel said Layla McCarter is one of those names that will be remembered in 100 years' time. That's a fact.
Wow.
That's the beauty of legacy. And then there's a question: which active fighter has had the most kids while fighting? That's a good question. I have absolutely no idea.
I have no clue.
Women's Boxing Channel, you do the research on that one, and then you let me know, because I have no idea.
That's really means a lot to me, and I hope you're right that I want my legacy to be strong. I wanted to do more, but it's up to the powers that be.
Yeah. The ruling is you don't lose your belt if you travel up by agreement, I think, but you do lose your belt if you travel down, except the WBO, who says you can't hold 2 belts in different weight classes.
I think it's up to the organizations at the time. They do whatever the heck they want to do.
Yeah, McCaskill was stripped of her WBO and IBF for traveling down. Yeah, because she went down in weight. If you go up in weight, you don't lose your belts. But if you go down in weight and you lose, you're supposed to lose your titles.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Did you never knew that?
No, because when I went up to fight to fight the Noni Tenge in South Africa, I was the lightweight champion, and I moved up 3 weight classes and fought for the super welterweight title at the time. So I wouldn't have lost my lightweight belt.
No. You wouldn't have been stripped of that. But
when I won the WBA, I kept my lightweight belt, and I gave up the other one that I just won. I think I just vacated it right away.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to fight at 154. It's not my weight. I was weighing 130 something,
Right. But yeah, I mean, the ruling stands that if you go up in weight, technically it's a harder challenge. So you wouldn't be stripped of your current belts. But if you go down in weight, they say technically it's supposed to be easier because you're going down in weight and you're the bigger fighter. So then you should be stripped of your titles if you lose.
Okay. Well, you know what? Those organizations, I don't have a whole lot of respect. Some of them, they just make it up as they go, or
They make it up as they go.
they favor people and they think they're God now. They order fights that, you know, who are they to order fights? I mean, they should be more on the sidelines and just sanctioning bodies, but they act like they're the authority in boxing now.
Absolutely. Let's see. Who are, or I say not say who were, but who are your female role models in boxing? Like, who was your role models? Who did you look up to in boxing?
As a fighter, I always looked up to men, honestly, because, you know, that's what I wanted to aspire to be, more like Julio Cesar Chavez, you know, Pernell Whitaker, Sugar Ray Leonard. I mean, all the greats of the Roberto Duran, all these guys from the 70s and the 80s, they just lit it. I mean, wow, they were inspiring. They fought everybody.
Speaking back and going back generations, men I mean, and I feel like women too is different, but totally different fighters compared to today's fighters.
I looked up to Christy Martin.
Warriors.
I looked up to Christy Martin as well because she was the headliner. She was fighting on the undercard of Mike Tyson, right before the big fights. And I thought, wow, this is amazing, you know, but also I looked at her in as a competitor. I was looking at her like, I want to take her title. I want to beat her up. You know, that's how we think as fighters.
That's how we always think.
Yeah. So the respect came later. Like, you know, as I got older, I'm like, I really respect this woman, you know, but before it was like, I want to take you out, you know?
Yeah. Like I could beat her.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's just ego in fighters, you know?
It is, as in all of us.
But I respect all the men, of course, from those eras. Like I say, 70s, 80s, that was the best.
Yeah, totally. Women's boxing champ. But when Shields traveled down, she was allowed to keep hers. LOL. One rule for one rule for others. Yeah, we were just saying that.
Exactly.
Shields was given the WBA super belt as part of her undisputed, while Gabriel's held the regular and never got to fight for it at the time. Yeah, Gabriel's made that very clear when they were talking about fighting at the presser and stuff. It's just that's the organizations.
The organizations are fighting. You know? They do whatever they want, and it's, you know, like when the IBF, not to name names, but when they ordered the fight with me and Cecilia Brækhus, and it never happened, nothing ever penalized her.
No penalization, no nothing. They just
dropped it. Just depends on whatever they want to do, and same with other situations I've had, and where I spoke out against one organization for their bias against women fighting 3-minute rounds. I got dropped magically from #1 to nowhere. I disappeared for like 2 years out of the ratings just for speaking out against an organization. So I keep my mouth shut more or less now, but when I retire, I'm going to talk a whole lot of mess.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so then I got to remember that when you retire, we're going to have you back on the show so that we can air all the dirt. Yeah. We're going to air all the dirt. But speaking of all of the dirt, all of us, especially from like our past generations of fighters, have dealt with a lot of BS in this sport of boxing, especially as female athletes. You've kind of talked about some. Can you tell us some of the things that you've seen or you personally had to deal with yourself that we just should not have to go through as athletes?
You know, probably every woman that's been in this sport has been told they need to doll it up or, you know, be sexy or do it. I said, no, I'm going to be true to me and I'm going to fight. And if they can't respect that, then screw them, you know? That's not me. Right. I'm not going to go be a Barbie doll. I'm not here to do modeling. I'm here to fight.
Yeah.
If they don't respect that, well, I don't care, you know?
Yeah.
But also like in Texas one time, one funny thing, we had to wear 10-ounce gloves instead of 8, and I'm fighting as a featherweight. And I said, well, why? They said, well, here in Texas, we don't want the girls to mess up their pretty faces. I was just like, are you freaking kidding me? That's amateur gloves. These are
my God. Yeah. What?
Yeah, I fought Linda Tenberg.
And do you really think the 2 ounces difference is going to really, I mean, it makes a difference, but you still could do damage with 10-ounce gloves and no headgear.
I'm like, we should put pillows on better, maybe get some mud in there, you know, whatever makes you happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe you should just worn the blow-up gloves.
100%.
Blow up.
Yeah, we could have given them a good show and make them laugh, you know.
I mean, we could have turned it. I mean, shit. At that point, you might as well just made it like mud wrestling.
Right. And then, you know, in the BKB, when I fought, back to your question, the BKB, I fought on the opening fight of the BKB show, and I was the only knockout on the show. It's big knockout boxing, right?
Yeah.
So I was the only knockout, and they didn't want to pay me more than some of the guys were making on the undercard off TV. So for the second fight, I was asking for more money, and the guy that was running their boxing part, he said, "Well, we know what the market is for women's boxing." And I'm like, "Excuse me, but I think I'm selling more tickets than anybody here. I'm a local. I sell a lot of tickets here. Plus, I'm the best fight of the night. Me and
Yeah.
from Melbourne, Australia, Diana Prazic, we put on it. She was the WBC 130-pound champion at the
Yeah.
time, and I was the only knockout. It was a great show. So what? But that's the sexism of the sport. It's not about market. It's not about ticket sales. It's just about
No.
mentality.
Yeah. It's sick is what it is. But
Yep. But that's what it is. It
it
is
is
what
what
it
it is.
is. What it is.
It is. What do you want to be remembered for most when you do decide to hang up the gloves and retire?
Wow, that's a tough question. I think being a good sport, staying true to myself. I'm not a dirty sport. I like to keep it clean, and I want to be remembered as a badass,
Well, I think you're definitely a badass, so I think you've already got that one covered.
a road warrior who took on all comers, all challenges, which I did, and I'm happy I did it, and I had a great time doing it. And
Yeah, that was my answer always when people ask me. It was very similar, but just being known as somebody that fought anybody, anywhere, anytime, never turned down a fight, and I always tried to fight the best. That was like my stamp I wanted to leave. So, but yeah, you've definitely done that and proved that time and again.
and
So,
finishing a fight with a broken arm. I mean, not too many guys would do that.
no, yeah. I don't. A lot of them probably would have quit. I can think of probably a handful of names that would have stuck it out,
Yeah, it's tough.
especially
I
the
mean,
3-4 rounds. It's not
I
like
was
it was
lucky the
one round.
glove comes up to, a point where the bone wasn't going to pop through, but I kept having to push the bones back together. It was like crunchy. And yeah, I mean, most guys would be kind of squeamish. I think there are some good, I'm not going to diss all the guys, but I think that a lot of people would quit, men or women. But
Yeah,
I'm proud that I stuck it out and I was able to get that third fight and pull off the trilogy 2 out of 3. So that was a
yeah,
great thing for me, pride
totally.
wise.
I agree. What advice would you give to young girls out there who are wanting to get into boxing?
I'm not going to say do something else. That's the first thing that popped in my head. But I want to say do what makes you happy because you have to.
Do something else. Like,
No, 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 no. That's the wrong answer. I'm saying follow your heart, follow your dreams. But in the reality, it's a really tough road and it's not something that's probably going to bring you financial gain. And it's not going to be what you thought it was. Like when I thought becoming a world champion would, be what you imagine. It's just not. And it probably won't be
not
in
for the
our
women.
lifetimes at least. And
Yeah,
so I say do it if you want to do it for yourself. And if it
yeah,
brings you happiness, because it gave me a lot. It gave me a life, and I'm proud of everything I did, and I wouldn't take it back. If I had a chance to do it again, I'd do it again, even
yeah,
knowing what I know now. So it gave me a life. So
yeah,
I think you got to follow your heart in all things. That'd be
yeah.
the best advice.
Totally.
And you have to work hard. Don't discount anything. Don't leave anything out. If you're gonna do it, put your work into it. Put the
Yeah,
100%.
I agree. Yeah, and people ask me all the time about, well, why don't you have your kids fight? Why don't you have? I don't want my daughters.
No doubt. Yeah.
Like I've been there and lived it and done it. Like now we have a son. Now, I mean, granted, I would never tell them no, but I'm not
Yeah.
gonna like push them. Be
Or
like,
encourage.
don't you want to be a fighter like me? Don't you want to be a fighter like me? Not my daughters. Like,
Yeah. You say,
no.
here's
Like
a book. Go be a
I don't
doctor.
want them to go through the shit that I went through.
It's tough. Yeah.
So I mean, I not that it was all bad, but it wasn't all peaches and cream either. It was a lot of bullshit. So I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't want them to have to feel the tears that come along with the crap.
Yeah,
Um,
but was it worth it? It was worth it.
yeah, I mean it was, but I wouldn't like push them to do it. Now we have
Exactly. I
a son.
feel the same
Granted,
way.
maybe it'll be different with my son because men actually can make it. So I don't know. We'll see.
Not
But I
just the
still will
two.
let them choose. I will never push them to do it just because. Like my husband was my trainer and he
Right.
boxed and all that too. But Like we would never push them to do so. Now, if they wanted to, that'd be totally different. But
Yeah, very few people make anything of it outside of pride and what, stories and whatever. It's
just
great.
stories and memories, yeah, and memorabilia that we can pass on to our kids later.
I'm right here. It's okay.
Right there, that's it. Is there anything that you would like to add or talk about that we missed maybe, or like you'd like to throw out there before we wrap things up today?
Not really. I just want to say thanks to everybody who supported me over my career. My mom, my family. My mom and brother were the ones who told me I could do anything I want as long as I work hard. And, they never made me feel like an alien for wanting to do boy stuff. I
Yeah,
played football with my brother. I did, and just having that love, unconditional, made all the difference in my life. And so I want to thank them for that, and all the people, all my friends that support me and are always behind me. Thanks a lot, guys. And to all the haters, thank you too, because I shine despite you. So all good.
yeah. I thought you were gonna say "f you" because that.
No, 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 the best revenge is success. All you people watching that your champions haven't done close to what I've done, and they never will.
Yeah,
Keep doing you, but and keep hating because it's all good. I'm
yeah,
happy with
all
me.
good. It didn't affect you at all, one bit. So you still did you.
Yep, just keep
Women's
you.
boxing OnlyFans keeps giving women boxers 250K. I have no idea what OnlyFans pays people. Um, I don't know. I don't know, Women's Boxing Channel. To each their own. And I don't want to knock anybody for making money, whatever the case may be, but that's just not something that I would ever want to put out there on social media or the internet. So, because that
Not
shit's
really
there forever.
boxing.
It's there forever. And you're going to have kids one day. So, whatever. But choose to do whatever you want to do. And if you need the money, fine. I
I'm
have
not,
no,
but it's not for me. It's not for
it's
me.
not for me, but
I'm a straight fighter. That's it. That's all.
yeah,
I'm not a model, a bimbo, a stripper, whatever else. I'm not any of those things. I'm just
yeah,
me.
it's not. I
And
don't think the 250K would. It's not going to do it for me. So
yeah, I'm
sorry.
afraid to ask what it's all about. I don't even want to know. It's a
No,
new era. It's a new era.
yeah, it's a totally new era today. Let me tell you, it's freaking me out. It's making me nervous,
I
but
need
I don't know
some of
what the
these
hell.
young guys from the gym to hook up my Instagram and my Twitter and get it all rolling.
I'm like, what? Okay.
I'm behind.
Speaking of that, tell everyone though where they can find you on social media and follow your career and stay updated with you.
Thank you. Everything is in my name, Layla McCarter, Layla, not like Ali. She spells hers wrong. McCarter, McCarter. Now the other Layla is with an I. I'm with a Y, and everything is under my name. Amazing Layla McCarter or Layla McCarter. Facebook,
Absolutely,
Instagram, and Twitter. Thank you.
most definitely. You read out the last part of my post. Did I miss something? I think I read it all.
Where?
Um, he said you read out the last part of my post. Did like I miss something?
Oh, about the OnlyFans,
Oh,
maybe.
I read that though. OnlyFans keep giving women boxers 250K.
Yeah, maybe.
Chernika Johnson, it was. Oh, what about Chernika Johnson? Look how Shields was giving WA super belt. Oh, I read that. Women's Boxing Channel. I'm sorry if I missed something that you read. Maybe it didn't come through because I know sometimes it doesn't send all the messages through. But I think I read all the ones that are showing on our end.
Yeah, my mouse isn't working. Sorry.
Eduardo says, Layla, is that somebody you know?
Eduardo, oh hey, that's Eduardo Caceres. He's from Mexico. He's one of my teammates from
Awesome.
yeah, he's down there in what's the place? Sorry, Eduardo, I forgot the city. But
Well, what's up, Eduardo? Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you. Make sure you hit that like and share Layla's episode with everybody there in Mexico.
yeah,
Go back
he's a
to
good fighter.
250K. Okay, so look how Shields was given a WA super belt as part of her undisputed, while Gabriel's held the regular and never got fight for it at the time. I already read that one. Is that the one? Guadalajara.
Oh, what? No, no, he's not from Guadalajara. He's from Torreon de la Coahuila. Now I remember. Torreon de Coahuila. It's a state in Mexico. I fought there, an exhibition fight, and that's where we met Eduardo. And he fights with us in Mexico City when we do our promotions there. We build fighters in Mexico, so we have a little team. You know, Z's Big Z from Abu Dhabi. He's 7-0 with 7 KOs now.
Okay.
Eduardo has a really good resume. I think he's got like 40 fights, and he's a heck of a fighter. We spar
Awesome.
when we're in Mexico City, so.
Yeah, we went. See, I fought it was Historia and Victoria
Okay.
when I fought Mia, which I don't think is too far from the city.
Yeah, we fight in Cuernavaca a lot.
Okay.
But
So
Luis
yeah,
does the promotions there, and we have our team, and we go stay in an Airbnb, and we all go down to the fights, and you know,
that's
Big Z.
fun.
Yeah, Big Z is a really good up and comer from Abu Dhabi. He's something to watch.
Awesome. Definitely have to keep an eye out for that. Well, if you have nothing else to add, I want to again thank you so much for coming on the show tonight. It's been fun. I appreciate it so much, you coming on my show and sharing your story. I look forward to seeing you and everybody else at the inductions again in October. And I'm glad you're feeling better.
Thank you so much. It was a great conversation, and I enjoyed talking to you. And thanks to the team. Thanks, everybody. And we'll see you again next time.
All right. We'll see you again soon. And I will definitely be reaching out to have you back on after retirement. So we
I'll
can
let you know
really
if the
talk.
fight's coming up, too.
Yeah. And when you get a fights come up, but that way we can talk some real dirt.
100%.
All right. Sounds good.
Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Bye.
All right, everyone. Thanks again so much for joining me tonight on No Punches Pulled with No Mercy. I hope y'all enjoyed the show. Layla is amazing, great person, great fighter. Definitely going to go down in history as one of the greatest, for sure. I hope y'all enjoyed that. Please make sure that you like, subscribe, and share, so we can get some more people here every week, and spread the love of all these amazing stories from these great fighters. Women's Boxing channel, as always. Have a great night. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for sharing. Eduardo, Eddie, all the others that commented, thanks for joining me tonight. I appreciate every one of you for being here. Those of you that are listening and not commenting, I appreciate you as well. There is now a donate button below. If you guys would like to donate, it does go directly to me and my show. So if you're enjoying the show and you're feeling generous, hit the donate button below. Go straight to me. Also, please, though, do follow my social media platforms so that you can stay informed about who's going to be on the show every single week. I have 2 accounts that you can follow. The first one is under Brooke, No Mercy, Dierdorff, #Millbrook. And then, of course, the podcast page, No Punches Pulled with No Mercy. That's across all my social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all of them. And that way you can see ahead of time who's going to be on the show every single week. But again, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in with me tonight. I will see you all again at same time, same place next Tuesday. Of course, at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with the next episode of No Punches Pulled with me, No Mercy. But until then, punch hard. Nothing else matters. Have a great night, y'all.